All right, we are back. I was just looking. I'm here with Angie, my wife, and welcome to everybody that's here. And I was just looking back. It has been since October 15th since we did the last one of these. So I know Angie has missed doing them. She's not a fan of being seen live like this. So be nice in the comments.
I like in person.
Yeah. Looks like we got a lot of people already. Hello from San Diego, Tom. Hello from, let's say, Rhode Island. Hello from Minnesota. Where are you from in Minnesota, Mike? Hello from New York and Oklahoma. We always have Oklahoma people. And Nevada, Hawthorne, Nevada. Yeah, so we've been away or we haven't been away, but we just have not done the live since October. We figured you guys were getting sick of us, so we took a little break through the winter, and we are back again to discuss all things Montana or answer any questions you may have. So I've jotted down a few things to discuss before we get to your questions. We can talk about our market right now up here. It's kind of weird. I think Angie would agree that every time it's an election year, things seem to slow down and everybody has the, well, I'm going to wait and see what happens attitude. So what are you seeing?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's kind of weird just in that we still have pretty low inventory. I know my office is down like half the listings of even what we had last year. And there are still buyers out there, but then, the whole interest rate thing, it's just, I think that if people see value, then yeah, it definitely moves, but yeah, it's a different kind of weird market. And now I think that whitefish has gone back to, having a selling season, where we the mountains closed, Glacier Park isn't open yet. Like my girlfriend and I the other day were trying to, where do we hike that you're not going to run into piles of snow. So, it's not tourist season yet either.
Yeah, we've gone out a few times in the past couple weeks, and it's kind of nice because right during COVID and right directly after COVID, we kind of lost our shoulder seasons. It was busy year round, and nobody seemed to have left. And now it seems like this is the first year I remember that was like 2019 before all hell broke loose, and we kind of have our town back, which, sounds weird in a little town like this, but it's true.
We went out to dinner last Monday and went downtown and were able to just walk in, and people called us by name. It was kind of weird. Haven't seen you in forever.
Yeah, so if you come up here right now, it's just the locals and the newer locals too, I guess. So yeah, it's been kind of a weird winter. Not a lot of snow. We were just talking earlier about going to the Sun Road. Every year they start plowing on April 1st, which they did this year as well, but they're already, before the end of April, they're already up past the loop, if you're familiar with going to the Sun Road. So they're making good progress. It may be one of the earlier openings of all time that we can remember as far as when that road opens. I've seen it, there's been years that it didn't open till after 4th of July. But this year it seems like it may be open by the first part of June. I don't know.
Yeah, Dwayne from Alberta said it's very dry there as well. And yeah, it was a weird winter and not a lot of snow, and kind of snow a little bit and then melt and then didn't snow much at all. And yeah, it's very, very dry. Even hiking the other day, I went up, it's big mountain road, and it's called the Holbrook Trail. And you can do, like a half mile, or you can do, I don't know, I think total, if you do both loops, it's maybe 4 miles. And it was super dry. The dogs were a dusty mess.
Yeah, which brings us to one of the things I jotted down. Unfortunately, obviously, there's still time to get a bunch of rain, but if this keeps up, I think we're going to have an ugly fire season. It could get smoky early here if we don't start getting some precipitation, because I was telling Angie a little bit ago, I went and looked at a piece of property I've listed the other day, and there's all these, that's this area where there's all these little lakes. It's called mini lakes. And then there's, the area around that has all these little, and when I say little, and when I say lake is kind of a stretch, a lot of them are big ponds, but they're all dry, which is, a little concerning at this point. So, which brings up another point. So I did video last year, and I did a video earlier this spring about fire insurance, and that it's funny that nobody watches those, even though it's super important up here. And I don't know what you've heard, Ange, but the insurance companies are, it's very difficult now to get insurance because of the fires, and it depends where you go, and how far out of town you are, how far you are from an actual fire station. So hopefully we'll get some rain.
Yeah, fire insurance is a thing right now. I mean, I think it's in lots of different states, but yeah, there are some areas that they're just not even insuring, and like different subdivisions in our area. If you have a Forest Service guy come out and give you suggestions, each tree needs to be 30 feet apart, that type of thing, and you take down trees and you create a border around your house, or maybe it's a 30-foot border from any structure, and then I'm not sure how many feet apart the trees need to be, but then you get a fire rating, and that can help with some of your insurance. But yeah, it's I think it also depends on how close the closest fire department is as well. So yeah,
Any of you guys from out of state, which most of it sounds like are, put in the comments if there's issues where you guys are at as far as getting insurance, because yeah, it's getting difficult, and it's affecting some sales up here. So
yeah, because like in our contracts, you usually have a certain amount of time to make sure that if you're obtaining lending, then you contact an insurance person, and they tell you how much your yearly premium will be, and a lot of times that's added into your taxes and mortgage rate for your final amount. And sometimes it's too high, and it just puts either the debt to income ratio, like the payment's too high, and and people aren't getting the loan. So definitely something to consider.
And the river rafter here has a good question. Can you cut down trees in order to get cheaper fire insurance? Well, when I did that video last year, I was actually out on site at this place up the North Fork, and these guys there was insurance guys, and there was actual DNR and fire, very high level fire people. And the answer to that question is no, because that would be the obvious. That's what I even brought that up when we were out there. Well, why don't you just cut down some trees? And the way the insurance companies do it is they look at the whole area. So even if your house is great, they look at everything else, and they look at if they can even get to your house. So like if your property is in the middle of a bunch of properties that nobody's done anything for, you're kind of screwed because they take all that into consideration. And just because your house might be okay, the rest of them in the neighborhood aren't. And yeah, there's, insurance is an issue.
Everywhere. A couple other questions or comments. Well, can we have your local police report? And then,
Well, speaking of that, Mike, I see Mike answered or asked that. So one of the things that I started since we've been gone, or since the last live that we've did, since we've been gone from these lives, I should say, is I started a newsletter, and I've been putting some of the police reports in there. So if you look in the show notes, if you guys are interested and want to get on our newsletter list, there's a link in there that you can sign up, and I send it out once a week. And it gives you a quick update of what is going on in the market. It gives you the biggest news story of Montana every week. And then I have some police reports and some, guess where this is, a bunch of photos. And so anyway, it's something different. I just started and seems to be going well. We're getting a good open rate on that. So if you're interested, sign up on the link in the show notes, and you can have police reports once a week if we're not on here doing it. I noticed somebody mentioned earthquake insurance.
and then Dwayne again from Alberta was saying that they're expecting a pretty bad wildfire season. And even, because we're so close to Alberta, wasn't it May of last year that, even north of Calgary, Edmonton, way north Alberta, there were some pretty bad fires, and it was smoky in our area because of those fires. Kind of amazing how far the smoke will travel.
Yeah, that was kind of a bummer, because one of the disappointing things every year here is, late. It's usually, thankfully, late in the summer when the smoke starts rolling in, and then it seems like it lasts 2 or 3 weeks maybe, and then goes away. But it's always kind of a bummer because the weather's perfect then and nice, and you hate to see the smoke. And then when we got it in May last year, we're like, come on, it's way too early for this. So cross your fingers that doesn't happen again. So Dwayne, tell the people up there to be careful with their fires this year. What else do I have here? Oh, we can talk about, I did a video a couple weeks ago. We're getting some major developments coming down in Kalispell. So, again, people are irritated, but yet, everybody's annoyed with the pricing or the prices here. But the reason the prices are so high is just supply and demand. There's no, when COVID hit and everybody moved up here, they bought up all the houses, and our inventory just plummeted. And so now they're, going as fast as they can to build new houses. And the people, of course, don't want all these new houses, but they want cheaper prices. So it's kind of a dilemma. It's kind of happening everywhere in the West. If you read the paper, and it is, there's all kinds of things that people are trying or talking about to solve this housing issue. And there's no easy answers. So we are in the midst of that in our valley. And, Angie grew up here. She's been here since she was a little kid. So she's seen more growth than anybody. But, don't you always say this is the quickest, most rapid growth you've ever seen in your lifetime?
Yeah, I think so. It seems like we always have some surges. We kind of joke that, when Hollywood, makes a movie about, something in Montana, then we get a surge, and Yellowstone, we got a surge. And there have been a couple other movies, but yeah, this seems like the most growth in the shortest period of time. And I'm mean, I'm sure that there are numerous factors, but being able to work remotely and Starlink and having some of those providers or services that allow people to work remotely have definitely been a game changer up here for Montana as a whole.
Speaking of Yellowstone, someone just asked, is Yellowstone being filmed again? I have not heard. I've heard rumors that they're going to do it again this year, but I don't know if how long you've been watching us, but I was actually an extra on the show a couple years ago. Well, actually, the last time they did film, because I wanted to get on that ranch, and that was the only way you could do it. But at the end of that particular season, they quit, and now they're talking about coming back. But I guess my point is there's a Facebook group up here for extras, and I've checked it the last few weeks, and there's nothing new on it. So I don't know if they're going to film this year or not. I'm not that in the loop. Apparently they're not consulting me.
Yeah, your 2-second cameo.
Like Angie says, I'm the reason the show stopped. I single-handedly took down the #1 show on television by being on it, so I have that going for me.
Tina was asking about the viability of water wells. Are they affected by the drought?
Not, I'm sure in time they would be, but I don't think at this point, I haven't heard that. We have quite a bit of water up here, and there's quite a bit of water underground as well. But with all the growth, it's going to be more about the growth, I think, than the droughts. Obviously, the droughts will affect it eventually, but it's more about the growth and more wells being drilled that's going to affect our water tables than anything. So I hope that answers that question. Do you have anything else?
No. How's the job market in Kalispell region for the healthcare industry? Our hospital has struggled a little bit with their, I guess, management of the hospital. They went up through a few things over the last 5 years, and I think they're kind of trying to come out of it. And I think, there are a lot of, what was the actual question? How's the job market in the Kalispell for the healthcare industry? I think it's okay. I know that they're always looking for doctors and nurses at Logan Healthcare is what it's called. And they've kind of taken over all of the hospitals, like Whitefish. The Whitefish Hospital used to be independent, and now it's a part of Logan Healthcare. Lots of physical therapists. Yeah.
They just merged with the hospital in Billings as well.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I think they're trying to take over the state and kind of be all over. But I don't know. Yeah, I think I had some clients not too long ago that they're moving up here, and I think his wife was a nurse or did something health related, and sounded like got a job right away. So I would just, if you're interested, I would just get online and get on their website, and I'm sure they have all the job openings listed there. Would be my guess.
Yeah. Yeah. How is Bozeman? Is it a true loud party town? I mean, there's a college there. I'm sure there are lots of parties. I haven't lived there in a long time, but I don't know. I still like Bozeman. I think it's still a great town. Hallie and our daughter and I were there last August for a few days, and we had some great meals, and we went out to this place called Bodie Farms, and it was kind of farm to table, like just outside of Bozeman by about 15 minutes, and just perfect setting, and a little creek running through everything, and like crafted cocktails, and kind of a set menu, but pretty good variety. And yeah, I don't know. I still like Bozeman.
Yeah, I've only been there a few times, and it was nice, but I've never lived there. Angie went to school there for a couple of years, so she has a better handle on Bozeman than I do. But it just they really got hit with the growth, and
Prices.
Bozeman Big Sky. That's the most expensive place in the state right now. I'm guessing it will remain that way. So there you go. There was Tina was asking more about the hospital. Is it financial or administrative issues? I think it's more administrative. I think financially they're fine. I think it's just the growth, the merging with people. That the nurses started a union a couple years ago. There was a lawsuit like 5 years ago, and when it all started, and but I think they're getting a handle on it, and it seems like it's getting back to normal. And so yeah, that's as much as I know about it. What else do we have here? We finally made the jump from Tahoe after 25 years to Bozeman, saving and waiting for things to pop in the next couple of years so we can buy in. Oh, so you must be renting in Bozeman, I guess. What else?
Montana Internet Facts. In 2024, Montana currently ranks 44 among states in Broadband Now's annual ranking of internet coverage, speed, and availability. This means that roughly 2 in 10, and it kind of cut off his statement, hers.
Well, I mean, I think that's a little,
Skewed.
speaking of yeah, we're the fourth biggest state in the nation. So there's a lot of empty land. When you get out east of here, there's a lot of wide open spaces where there isn't internet, but there's no people. So I don't know if that ranking is, I don't know how you'd do it, whether it's per capita or whatever, but I think the reason we're so low is because of the size of the state and because of the amount of empty land that we still have here. I always say when you go between Kalispell and Libby, which is 100 miles, there's nothing out there. I mean, there's a few houses and cabins, but there's no towns, there's nothing. So we're still a very rural state when it comes down to it. Have the towns gotten crowded in the last few years? For sure, but there's still a lot of open land. There's a lot of federal land here that will always be open as well. So, but a funny story about the internet, which I've told before, but a few years ago, I was looking at a house. The guy wasn't here yet, but I went up to preview it, and it was up near Eureka, but it was out of town. Eureka is about 45 minutes north of Whitefish, and it's basically on the Canadian border. And between Whitefish and Eureka is kind of like what I just said about between Kalispell and Libby. There's nothing out there. And so I went to this house that was kind of out of town quite a ways, and the guy was wanting to work remotely. And so his first question was, how's the internet? And I was like, well, it's probably not great out here. So I called the agent, and they had fiber. Well, we don't even have fiber optic, and we live in the town of Whitefish. I know some of the businesses in town have it, but a lot of the residential area here in Whitefish, we do not have fiber optic. But yet in the middle of nowhere, Montana, outside of Eureka, they have fiber optic service. So it's kind of crazy.
Well, we just took a new listing in Trigo, and it's on 33 acres and borders Forest Service land. And they have amazing, it's just, and it's out, there's nothing around them. It's definitely out in the middle of nowhere. Beautiful, beautiful views and beautiful mountain views and a creek and pond and all that kind of stuff. And they have great internet, so could work from home.
Yeah, it's the fact that they have fiber optic out there in the sticks and we don't is still a little annoying to me, but what are you gonna do? It seems like we got a pile of questions now. Where did we leave off? Any good value on land near Whitefish Lake? No. Value there's property available, but it's not cheap. Because everybody, Whitefish is the most popular town in this valley, and the last few years we've been inundated with new people, and everything kind of got bought up. And again, supply and demand, there's not very many lots available, so the price has gone up. And so finding land period is a trick sometimes, let alone a deal.
Yeah. But like the pile driver said, Bozeman is 30 to 50% of the price of Tahoe, both for rent and purchase. And we're the same. I mean, compared to the Lake Tahoe's, the Jackson Holes, Aspen, stuff like that, we seem like a bargain. So I suppose it depends on what area you're coming from. Yeah, when you compare them to those areas, our prices are great.
There you go. How long does new construction take given the open land market? It used to be they're slowly getting caught up, but again, I keep saying this, after the last couple of years and everybody moving up here, the builders got inundated as well and backed up, and the good builders were 2 years out, a couple of years ago. Now they're starting to catch up, and it's not as bad, but still, to find a good builder, it's not like they're going to start on your lot in a couple weeks. So if you have land or you're thinking about building, it's going to take a little bit still. And you just got to be careful. If you find a guy that, oh yeah, I can start right away, then that may be a red flag.
Yeah, because there are a lot of crummy builders up here.
So
There are
do you have
really
any
good ones though too. I work with a great guy that, yeah, he's terrific. But yeah, just be careful.
Yeah, it's just like anything. You just need to do your homework and make sure. One of the things that I tell people all the time that I can't believe that people don't do is have them, if they're proud of their work, have them give you the phone numbers of people that they build for. They should have no problem doing that. And you can talk to them and ask them questions, and if they don't, they're again, red flag. I would be a little disturbed by that. And, go at it from that angle. Because if you just pull the first guy, that you find, you could get in trouble. I know there was somebody that came into our office a year ago that got screwed by a builder. And it's just like anything. When different parts of the country start booming, you get people that show up that try and take advantage of people, and this was one of those areas. So
So sorry.
Sorry. Go ahead.
One of the other question was, do you have any information on schools and buildings that have special ed programs for autism? And because we're on the other side of the state, I don't have that. We don't have that information right offhand. I would certainly think that any of the school districts over there would be able to give you their website or put you in contact with their special ed person that could help you with, what programs you're looking for.
Yeah. What's the dating scene like in Kalispell? Well, I could tell you what it was like in 1992. Is that right? I can't answer that question.
Yeah, I don't know. I know that right now, like our daughter's 22 and, that she doesn't have any desire to be here. Just, people her age, I think a lot of people, just like I did, you grow up here and you leave for college, you leave afterwards and, maybe make some money and try to come home. But yeah, I'm guessing that there's a scene. I'm just not sure what that comprises of.
Yeah. Sam says, do you have any recommendations on finding a rental house or cabin in Whitefish or around Kalispell to rent out for the next year?
Mm.
Okay, I have a letter that I've, saved because I get this question so often and I was sick of retyping it all the time. So I just cut and paste it, but I will say it out loud. Basically, unfortunately, in our state, we do not have access to rentals on our MLS. So I know as much about rentals as you do. So what you need to do is you have to Google, rentals in Whitefish or rentals in Kalispell, and then, 10 rental companies will come up. And because they all manage different properties, then you have to go to each one of their websites and see what they have available. And it sucks. I wish somebody would make a central location. And I've said this also, if you want to create a job for yourself up here, there it is, because there's no central location to find rentals. I know Zillow's has rentals now, but not everybody advertises on there. And, if you're using a rental company, they just have their own site and it's kind of a pain. So unfortunately, that's what you have to do. It takes some time, but it seems like because of all the building and construction and new apartments, they've opened 2 or 3 new apartment complexes in Kalispell over the past year. Rentals are starting to get a little easier. I'm not going to say it's easy, but it's not what it was a year or two ago. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think it's softened a little. I think, both the rental market and the housing market has maybe, it's definitely cooled. We're not having the multiple offers on things, and things are starting to stay on the market a little bit longer. So, yeah, rentals, it seems like it's getting a little bit better.
Let's see. Gordon, we spend the summer in the woods near Eureka and they have super internet. Phone service is another matter. At least you can do the whatever Wi-Fi or the Wi-Fi phone. How do you find out which areas have good fiber optics? You just need to go to the website. I have never seen like a map. But up in Eureka, I'm sure if you call the local company up there and give them an address, they'll tell you that yes, there's fiber there or there isn't. But it like we were saying a minute ago, the places we've seen fiber optic, it seems like it has to be everywhere, because I have yet to, go to a place far enough out that doesn't have it. So it's just so strange that they have fiber out there in the middle of nowhere. Let's see. Have taxes on personal property really gone through the roof? And on rentals, definitely looking to move there. Our taxes have gone up. They're based on the value of the property, and they reassess them every 2 years. They reassess the property values. So obviously in the last 2 years, or since the last 2 years, our prices have gone way up. So in turn, this past fall is when the new appraisals came in and the new taxes hit, and everybody was irritated that they did go up. And they were more irritated with the government here. We're one of 4 states that our state legislature only meets once every 2 years, and everybody knew that these taxes were going to go up, and they did nothing about it. They were, worried about banning TikTok, and they could have done all kinds of things to stop this, and it would have been easy for them to change, but they didn't. And then everyone starts pointing fingers, and so we're still sitting here with the new tax rates, and we'll see what happens. That was kind of a burr in everyone's side this year. And
Well, and I think I think why it stings so badly is because there's a surplus as well.
yeah, that was the thing. We have this huge budget surplus because of all the new people. Instead of offsetting that with, not jacking the taxes up, they again decided to do other things that meant nothing. So anyway, I don't know if I want to get started on a political rant right now, but
Slippery slope.
I don't think I'm the only one in Montana that was irritated by that. Let's just put it that way. Has the Park Service implemented any new rules for entering the park? They have, actually. How does it work now? A couple years ago, they started selling tickets. These what do they call those? Not only did you have to pay when you get to the gate, but you had to buy a daily pass to drive into the park. And that was from 6 a.m. until 4 in the afternoon. And they did that from basically Memorial Day until the week after Labor Day. But now this year, you can enter whenever without a pass on the east side. Here on the west side, you still need that pass to get in. But it seems like they moved it up to or back to 3 o'clock now. I think you can go in there. Is that right?
You know what? I haven't been paying attention.
Oh, yeah, it is easier this year. And I think they made the website better. So I don't think it's going to be as hard to get those passes as it once was. So off topic, how is hunting and fishing? I think it's good. Since I don't do either much anymore.
When did you ever?
I did when I was growing up.
Oh, okay.
Listen to Miss Montana here.
I think I've done more hunting than you have.
I doubt. I don't think you have. Where are we? Are you reading these questions? I've seen many homes have Starlink. Is it consistently reliable? I haven't heard any bad things about Starlink. I'm sure some people have had issues, but everybody I've talked to has been really happy with it. We have some friends that have it, and yeah, I haven't heard anything bad.
Yeah, we have some really good friends that have it and love it.
Hi from Missoula from a lifer. Hello, Dana. The Say Hey Kid, Big Fork has a nice pickleball center to play. Has Whitefish started to build any new courts? I have heard rumors, but that's as much as I've heard. I know there's a couple outdoor courts over by the high school, but I think those are basically the only ones in Whitefish right now. Is that right?
But I thought there was some over near like the lakes, and that I think it's that Lutheran church over there. I think that they were maybe trying to do some indoor courts because Big Fork like full on leveled up on the pickleball, and their pickleball center is super nice and amazing. I believe they even hold some, like sanctioned
They have
events.
like national tournaments there.
Yeah.
I haven't been in it. Have you been in that?
I have not.
I've heard that it's, I'm not a pickleball expert, but I've heard that it's very, very nice and high end, and
We did
the
go
real
to
deal.
Yeah, we didn't, not here in Whitefish, but in between Whitefish and Kalispell, there's the pickle barn. We've gone there.
Yeah.
And little known fact, Will played some pickleball this winter, and I don't know, kind of got his ass kicked
Yeah,
by some
well,
ladies that were possibly in their
I'll
70s.
focus on hockey. I'm not old. I'm not. Yeah. Anyway,
It is a
uh,
fun game.
I had a thought until you just threw me off there. Way to go.
Will's problem is that he, like, the whole slap shot in hockey. He thinks that he needs to do that in pickleball instead of, like looking at, where the ball should go and finessing things. He likes to slap shot it in, and then he misses.
Yeah. Well, when I do hit a good shot, it makes people duck, and I get the point.
Yeah, and it hurts a little. It stings a bit.
What else? What is John? Is it more probable to buy a house already built or find a lot of land to build on? I've looked into buying a lot, but the prices vary greatly. They do. I'll let you answer this, Angie.
I don't. It would be, I suppose, interesting to, is what the probability is if you're going at it from a statistics standpoint. But and I suppose it depends on where you want to be. There is land available, and yes, the prices vary so widely, just depending on where you are, what your view is. Is there water nearby? What are your neighboring properties? Your neighbors look like. So yeah, it's. I'm sure that you are finding that it's all over the place, because it is. Um, is it more probable to find a house already built? There again, I suppose it depends on where you're looking and what you're looking for. Certainly, feel free to reach out to us, and we can help you with that and help you dial in what exactly you're looking for. Because yeah,
Yeah,
there's
we are
wide
getting into
array.
the listing season, so more and more homes are going to start coming on the market every year at this time, as this is our big May is the big listing month, April and May. So if you haven't found anything yet, I'm sure more will be on here soon.
Yeah.
Let's see. One of the things, all right, first of all, I have a favor to ask everybody. I was looking at our stats, and it says that well over 50% of the people that watch our channel don't even subscribe to it. So if you could subscribe, that would be great. That would help us out a lot. And then I said it earlier, but if you weren't here earlier, we started a newsletter this winter, and I left the link for it down below in the notes for this video. So if you want a daily or a weekly update on our market, what is sold, and the big news story out of Montana for the week, be sure to sign up, and we'll get you on the list and put that out there. And then the one thing that I had jotted down that we haven't talked about, I don't know how much you guys have been watching the news or heard about the lawsuit thing, and how the lawsuit that was against basically our entire industry, and how that's going to affect everyone. I'm going to do a video about it here in the next few weeks, but if you have any questions about that, let us know. But as of right now, it's supposed to be or did they just push it to August? There's going to be
The lawsuit.
settlement, and the way that our commissions are paid out, and all of that. So,
Yeah, and if you have any ideas of things that you want to know about, Will's always looking for content ideas, and so if you think of anything that you are interested in and want to hear more about, let him know, because yeah, always trying to come up with interesting things about our area, and buying in this area, and what to look for and what to think about.
Well, and then back to that lawsuit thing. The media, as I'm sure everyone's well aware, likes to make clickbaity headlines and make sure you read the story type of headlines, and a lot of it was total BS. So just be careful what you read or listen to, because a lot of the headlines that came out right after that were completely wrong. And like I said a minute ago, to be honest, they haven't even come up with the final what's going to happen until August. So I'm a little hesitant to do a video because of that, because we don't know totally yet. But I think I was just going to do it to kind of explain how everything works, in case obviously a lot of people aren't aware of how it all works, and how it works if you're a buyer or you're a seller. But I will say that what these lawyers are trying to do is not going to help people that are trying to buy properties at all. It's just helping, it's helping with their cash out. So anyway, enough of that. How hard would it be to buy a house in Whitefish and rent it out in the winter? Not hard at all. A lot, obviously, if you buy a place up on the mountain near the ski resort, or right near downtown area, it'll be a lot easier. I mean, people like the convenience. Our ski resort has it's called the snow bus that runs through the middle of town all day, every day during the winter. So if you're down here in town, you don't have to drive up to the mountain. You can just hop on the bus. But rentals, yeah, there's always all kinds of people here in the winter wanting to rent out a place, especially over between the week between Christmas and New Year is the highlight as far as people in town, and then winter carnival, I guess. So
Yeah, and there again, just be careful. I suppose it depends on what you're looking for, and do you want to use it at all? And but yeah, Whitefish is still, summer is actually probably busier than winter. So at least you're renting it out 2 different seasons. And then John asked what the average cost of new homes built in new communities and around Bozeman is where I'm concentrating to buy or build. And I think it, really, really depends on, your level of finishes and your amenities and that type of thing. There are homes in our area that, builders are building them for 1,000, 1,100 to 1,200 a square foot, depending on, again, I mean, these are, luxury homes. I would say some of the homes that aren't, crazy, you're probably looking at 250 per square foot, and that's not including the land. So yeah, it really, really depends on what your finished package is.
yes, it does. And then Mike, as I see it, everything should be negotiable. And that you nailed it, Mike. That was what I was saying about the headlines, is that they made it sound like it wasn't. It always has been negotiable. But the media came out and made it sound like nobody had a choice, and that couldn't be further from the truth. The commissions have always been negotiable, and yeah, they made this out that they weren't, and that was not true. So anyway, what else do we have? Kind of at the bottom of the. Go ahead.
Oh, somebody had asked you, and you kind of mentioned, like the bus system further up, and that one of our probably, I don't know about downfalls, but we don't really we have some public transit, but not a lot, and not anything that truly goes like from the airport to Kalispell to Columbia Falls to Whitefish. We have the snow bus that's a free bus, but it goes up to the mountain to the ski hill. So yeah, I mean, there's the There is one in Kalispell. But I've sat on a couple of different, like the airport board, and we would talk about, public transportation, and it's just, we're so spread out here that that's part of the problem with public transit.
I just have a totally off the. If you guys could chime in, is our sound okay? And the reason I ask is one of the things that happened to us this winter is the reason I'm not in my normal spot that has better sound is we had a sewer line freeze and back up, and our entire basement is now gutted, and that's where my office was. So I'm up here in our dining room, and it sounds echoey, and Angie's right down the hall in her office, and we were worried about. Sounds like people are saying it's good. That's good to hear, because our basement's not going to be done anytime soon. So if we keep doing these, we're going to have to keep doing the same setup. Which brings me to another question. We used to do these every other week. I'm thinking about going to once a month. Chime in. How often do you want to see us? I think we were getting on people's nerves at the end of last year, and that's why we took a little break. So every other week, every once a month, I think once a month might be the ticket. Because as much as I can talk, even I run out of things to talk about. As much as you want to. There we go. Good answer. So we were kind of down. That gets us
We
down.
did have, is there air rescue? Sorry, it just went. I don't know how to. Oh, there we go. Is there air rescue, and can they land on private property? We have. It is amazing. We have we have the alert helicopter that was the first alert helicopter in the nation. Isn't that what the deal was? Well,
I can't verify that.
and so many lives have been saved because we are such a remote area. And then you go up into Glacier and some of these hiking wilderness areas, and the alert helicopter is through Logan Health Center. And then there's Two Bear Air that they do like crazy rescues. There was a kid last spring that had gone hiking. It's called Huckleberry Lookout. And he like slid down a ravine, lost his shoes, spent one, if not 2 nights out in the cold, and Two Bear Air found him with infrared technology. And I would say that is one of the best things about our communities here, is that we have volunteer fire, we have volunteer, rescue, CPR, ambulance, all that kind of stuff. And then we have the 2 different helicopter, alert and Two Bear Air that do amazing things, saving lives.
Yes, they do. And we actually know, or we've met one of the pilots, and he's really good friends with friends of ours. And so we've been at dinner parties with them, but some of the stories, yeah, these guys are nuts.
Yeah.
But
we're telling down to, with carts that they put people in and then back up. And it's just, very needed and appreciated people that are willing to put their lives on the line to rescue others.
Yeah. And like Angie said, and like I was talking about earlier, we're so remote here, and there's so many remote areas, and people are always going out there, to recreate or to do whatever. And there's always accidents. So that's the only way to get people out of there and save lives when you're 50 miles away from a hospital. It's a good thing we have here with all of that. So they're very appreciated.
Yeah.
Are there good coffee shops here? I saw somewhere. Yes, there are. And I don't, Mike Corey. I don't know if I've ever been to a place, and I've driven a lot of places, as my wife can verify, that has as many of those little coffee kiosks as we have here. And I find that weird. I wonder why that is.
My theory is because we're such a state of, we have agriculture, we have tourism, and we have small business. And it is, if you're in a good location, it's a great small business. So yeah, I mean, we just don't have big industry in Montana. So that would be my thought process behind all the coffee kiosks.
Yeah. Let's see. Love seeing Angie join you. There you go. You got a fan.
Yeah.
Enjoy both of your inputs. Did Hillary move after she got married? She did not. She's still around. She's just, she kind of, how do I even say this? We were kind of working together, and then when all of her wedding stuff and then I switched brokerages, and she stayed where she's at, and so that's
With
why
me at Sotheby's.
She's not on the lives anymore. She I think had enough of me giving her crap on these lives, so now I can, give Angie crap.
Right, and it's easier for me to give it back.
Yes, it is. How is the? I'll, in light of not getting in trouble, I'll let Angie answer Dwayne's question.
How's the football in Montana? It's awesome. He's just a snob because he went to Penn State.
Well,
we don't have any major league sports here. Will grew up in Minnesota, but he had to leave because it's Minnesota. So
hey, there's a guy from Minnesota on here. Be nice.
But you know what? There again, I think that some of the small town, Missoula has team, Bozeman, those are our two state colleges. And yeah, are they the size of Penn State? Do we have the whiteout? No. But is it good?
It's kind of cute. Like I say, it's cute.
Hey, and Monty, our mascot for the Grizz, he's a bear. He's a Grizz. I mean, yeah. What is your Minnesota team called? The Vikings,
the Gophers.
The Vikings, the Gophers. Yeah, I think a Grizzly can kill a gopher.
Well, the Grizzlies probably would beat the Gophers. They've sucked since the beginning of time. So,
I think Montana football is awesome.
It is kind of fun. We went to wasn't that last fall? We went to the Bobcat Grizzly game, and it's always a huge party and event, and it was in Missoula last year. So we went down to that, and we've never gone when it's in Bozeman. We'll have to do that sometime.
And I always say that Montana is still one big small town. So you go to those events and you always run into people that you haven't seen for years. People from our area go down to Missoula all the time for those games. It's about a 2-hour drive, so you can do it in a day, or you can stay the night. And so, I don't know, Will's just a little snobby when it comes to football.
It's just what I'm used to. That's all. Dwayne for hockey.
Losing with the Vikings.
Well, hey, I can't choose where I had
in fact, somebody was asking, are you going to cheer for Kirk Cousins? Didn't he just leave?
Yeah, he did. No, I'm not going to. I didn't cheer for Kirk when we had him. He's horrid. Atlanta, that was the biggest ripoff of, yeah, I know this isn't sports line, but we're kind of going into that right now. No, Atlanta way overpaid for him, and the Vikings learned their lesson. And Mike, just I know you're going to probably ask here soon, I'm hoping they get Jaden Daniels. If we get the LSU guy, then I will be fully back on the Viking bandwagon,
Oh,
which
God.
I'm sure will make my wife very happy, because I haven't been able to stomach them for the past, I don't know, since 2009.
I don't know about that. Here's the evolution of Will's, Viking,
We don't.
it surges with the draft. He kind of gets a little excited about, preseason, and then they start to lose a few games, and then it's just, the world is ending. The Vikings suck. They're awful. They're never gonna, they're always breaking my heart. And so
Anyway, Mike, yeah. Like I said, if they get Jaden, I'm all in. We actually we have some friends that live in Baton Rouge, and they're huge LSU fans, and so we actually went and saw the greatest college football game of all time a couple years ago. Was LSU Alabama, and we were there, which I told Angie there's no need to go to another college football game again, because we're never going to top that one. But he was the quarterback, and he's awesome, and he would look very good in Viking colors. But anyway, back to Montana stuff. Tina, how long do you recommend to stay for viewing properties? Is a week sufficient? I would think so. I guess my first question for you would be, have you been here before? And if you have, great, you're ahead of the game. But a lot of people come up here and just want to start looking at houses, and I always recommend that they come up here and, drive around the area and figure out where exactly they want to be, because this is a big valley, it's a big state, and everything's different. So if you haven't been here, I would say on your first trip, come up and get a feel for the land. And if you already have been up here, then yeah, a week is plenty. Wouldn't you agree?
yeah. And then she followed up with a question about motel stays for house hunting, and yeah, there are quite a few hotels in Kalispell, Whitefish, Columbia Falls that aren't bad.
All right. Well, that brings us to the bottom of the questions and the end of sports talk. So thanks for tuning in. It's good to be back. A lot of people said they wanted it more than once a month, so maybe we'll go back to every other week. We will keep you posted. But again, don't forget, sign up for the newsletter, subscribe if you haven't, and we will be back sooner rather than later. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.